Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at Shadow Fletchinder, which is interesting because it might be better than Talonflame. The reason for this is the recent update to Heatwave. Being a 45 energy move to do quite a lot of damage for the fire typing is quite handy, and the only Pokemon that can really learn this out of this line is going to be, of course, Fletchinder, while Talonflame learns Fire Blast. And so, now Fletchinder actually has some uniqueness to it, and one more thing that makes it really unique, it just disappears. It's a ghost. It's John Cena here, basically. Because like it just disappears when you go for the fast moves in the beginning. I think eventually it doesn't anymore. But like this is just such a funny bug that this Pokemon just doesn't exist. I think it's based on the fast move animation. The way like the Fletchinder is like floating through the air. It just stops this Pokemon to appear on the screen. For whatever reason. I know. It's funny though. I enjoyed it. And the thing is here as well, for Fletchinder, this Pokemon itself, I think actually has quite a lot of play. And while yes, it's very similar to what Talonflame can do, as Talonflame also learns Peck, Talonflame also learns Fly, and it's also a fire and flying type Pokemon. It has very similar bulk. At least like Heatwave gonna give it something different, and this is something that I always kinda enjoy. I mean, there is like this pre-evolution that is way funnier to use, but that has something at least unique to it, which is quite rare, I would say. But yeah, as you can see here, we're going to have the Jellicent against us. We're going to be able to use a shield here with our Stunfisk. This is going to be, by the way, our team. Stunfisk, the Rodent, which got buffed as well, which I wanted to try out early on as well here, which is a very, very good Pokemon. A very good core generally, Talonflame like here, then the Fletchinder plus the Rodent. And then Stunfisk in the back just helps out a ton. Here we're going to be able to knock out the opponent's Murkrow most likely. I think we can just get both shields, exactly. And now we still have Heatwave, which is generally, as far as I know, worse than Fly. It doesn't matter in this case because I knew I would knock them out anyway and just wanted to see how much it does. But yeah, generally speaking, if you have two neutral attacks, I do think it is better for you to go ahead and go for the Fly always. So, let's take a look here. We're going to have the Twister Shelgon against us. We're going to be able to go for the Fly, but they're generally going to outspeed us, because they're going to only need 10 turns in order to get to their charge move, while we, I think, need around 12, but the opponent lets the move go through, which is a big mistake, because now Fletchinder is going to be here in a prime position to do a lot against the opponent. We knocked out one Pokemon already, and while we're 2 shields down, we have a ton of energy on Fletchinder, which means we are going to be able to go for the Fly, get the shield, we're going to be able to go for the Fly, very likely get another shield, or a ton of damage, and I take both of it. We're going to get both shields from the opponent, and we have now Rodent aligned against the Jellicent. We have 2 charge moves in the back here, but that would be super effective, and Discharge as well as Trailblaze, and so I'm not too worried about it yet, but they sub out into the Empoleon, which is honestly not too bad for us either, because we have the super effective fast move damage, as well as the option to boost ourselves up with Trailblaze, and while maybe we're not going to be able to knock out the Empoleon with that, we are going to be able to put us in a prime position to sweep hopefully endgame, as this Trailblaze coming through is going to allow us to get them super low. We have now our Fletchinder knocking them out, doesn't even move a bit, and now in comes the Jellicent again. We have our Stunfisk. I know that we are going to be able to get to another charge move here, at least as far as I know. The Surf is coming through, we can go straight for the Discharge, and even if this doesn't knock them out, we're going to have enough fast move pressure still to knock them out, but here that was already enough, and we can move on to the next opponent. We will face off against an Altaria. Here, this is going to be a funny matchup because you have 2 flying type Pokemon against each other, but it's actually not that bad for Fletchinder. It's honestly not that bad for Fletchinder. We're going to be able to go ahead and go for the swap out into the Rodent. This is going to be fine. We have the Sky attack coming through, doing some solid damage against us, and Body Slam is coming in next, up against a Drapion. That is actually really good for us. That is kind of the best matchup. I mean, we have Mud Bomb still on the Stunfisk, which would be kind of fine, but here we at least don't take super effective damage from the Awkward Tail. They have to go for Crunch, but it's not a bad matchup at all, as you're gonna see here. And this is gonna be a CMP time, so it's absolutely worth it for me to utilize my shields here. This is just gonna give me an advantage. Like, either I'm gonna get switch advantage, or I'm gonna get like the shield back from the opponent. There's no point of me not shielding there, as we will see that I can now let the move go. This was very likely the Awkward Tail after the debuff. Exactly, it should be enough now. But we're going to have Fletchinder. They go into their Altaria, should hopefully be able to still farm them all the way down now afterwards. And we have the Drapion, which we know we can beat. We have this thing that we're going to be able to destroy. We have now in the back the Morpeko, and we have 2 Heat Waves. First one is coming through, is going to allow us to get the shield. The second one is coming through and going to allow us to get a ton of damage. Not enough to knock them out straight away, but it's going to be enough to easily win us this battle now as we have the Stunfisk in the back. And this is going to be an easy sweep end game. So let's move on to the next opponent as they're going to forfeit. Next opponent, we're going to have the Jumpluff in against us in the lead, and we're going to see the Ferret coming in next. It's going to be okay for us. We're going to try to go for a fly early on in order to get somewhat of an advantage here. But this is going to be the Swift coming in first, Fly is coming in afterwards, and I'm going to swap out straight afterwards as well because I don't really want to get my Fletchinder going to be a little bit lower. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm going to try to catch the move here onto the Greedent, which I think is the best play. As we will see, we are going to have here now the Ferret against the Greedent, two Rodents against each other, and both of them are utilizing very fast charge moves from the normal typing. As it swap out back into the Jumpluff, we are now in a bit of an awkward position though for ourselves. The reason for this is because the Jumpluff has now a ton of energy, and this is going to be very difficult for our Fletchinder because we don't have a lot of bulk on this Pokemon. It just makes it all a little bit more awkward. But as you will see, they're going to go for the charge move here. It's going to be the energy ball as far as I remember. And it's not going to be enough to knock us out, but we can stop out of here. And I tried to reach a fly in time. I couldn't. They have the aerial ace, which I didn't really think of either. I thought they would have acrobatics. And they're going to have another charge move start on the Ferret. Well done from the opponent here. Well done there. Well played. And we're going to see here as well the Stunfisk now up against the Ferret. I have to kind of go for the full foul in order to have any kind of chance. But they're of course still going to get another move here with a Trailblaze. That is going to connect. It's going to do some solid damage. And we're now in a very tough position. As Jumpluff comes in next, we are going to be able to go ahead and go for a discharge here against the opponent. Discharge is coming in again, but we're literally in an uphill battle. There's not a lot that we can do. We still have Greedent with a charge move nearly stored, but we're not doing enough damage with the discharge. As Zumel comes in, which would have not been really a bad Pokemon for this team, but the way this is here, I have to forfeit, and we can move on to the next opponent. Fun fact about this battle, I actually went a lucky friends with this player because of this battle, which is kind of funny, so shout out to you. We're going to have here now the Altaria. This is actually the first time that happened to me that I got lucky friends with someone from doing just a random Go Bad League battle. But yeah, we have the Altaria against us here. This is going to be alright. We saw this matchup already prior, but the swap button onto the Empoleon. And here's the awkward thing, we are now slower with the Mud Bombs, so we have to go for Discharge, which is a little bit weaker. Generally speaking, it's still not the worst matchup. We're going to be able to get them at least kind of low. And this is kind of what I'm aiming for. I will very likely use my shield here just in order to get their final shield, as well as getting them a little bit lower, because this might put them into range for the Greedent, which could be very nice for our endgame scenario now. We're still not really in a good position for ourselves though. Like, this is something we have to kind of admit here as well. The opponent's going to be in a bit of the driver's seat, but this doesn't mean anything, because here Hydro Cannon comes in. We are going to have the Greedent here still, which is going to be enough. Here, the Trailblaze should be enough at this point to knock them out, which is kind of what I was aiming for with the Thunder Shock damage from the Stunfisk. And I go straight for it because I want to get rid of this Pokemon, as I don't want to face it against my other Pokemon anymore. And they sub out back into the Altaria, and Greedent is taking here some KOs. I didn't hit all the bubbles there. Good job, me. I was mostly distracted. Didn't matter at all. We're gonna knock them out anyway. And in comes the Jellicent, and we have the boosted Trailblaze on to the opponent here. Super effective, doing a ton of damage, and we're also going to be able to get to a fly here in time, which is doing so much damage from the Fletchinder to knock them out. And here you saw basically the difference between what Fletchinder's charge move damage is doing compared to a Greedent's charge move damage. Of course, you have Stab, Fly. It's so funny that this Pokemon just disappears. John Cena, literally. You can't see it. But the thing is here, with Fly, you have a Stab move that does a lot of damage generally. I want to check again. I'm fairly certain damage voice Fly is at 80, which means that 75 for the Heat Wave is not ideal. You would always kind of want to go for the Fly. And yeah, this is going to be exactly what this is the case. 80 for Fly and 75 for Heat Wave, both 45 energy. So for this, it's kind of the same. Like, you kind of always want to go for the Fly if it's neutral, but a lot of times Fly is resisted, or Heat Wave is super effective. And for those cases, actually, it's kind of nice to have an instant damage, because this is the thing as well. Talonflame's only real fire type move that makes sense is currently Flame Charge, which you have, I think, on Fletchinder as well, which is 65 damage for 50 energy. So you have 10 less damage for 5 more energy, which means it's not really that great. Of course, you have the boost guaranteed afterwards, but this is the benefit of like Heat Wave on this Pokemon, on Fletchinder, which makes a difference. It's just that you're going to have those scenarios where you're going to want to have like the immediate burst damage for the fire type, and you just only get this with this Pokemon, because Heat Wave is just on it, and that is kind of the funny thing. Here, we are going to have the Fletchinder up against the Drapion. I should shield just to get the more fast move damage in. That's my idea here at this point to win, is fast move damage. They're going to go ahead and just, go for both of the charge moves. That should be kind of alright still for me, because I have all 3 of my Pokemon left. I have the Greedent left here as well. I go for the Body Slam, which I don't know if this was the right choice at all. If I can swap, I might be in a fine position, but I can't swap, so that was not really ideal. Unless I have a charge move on the other one. Let's see. I'm in a very tough position. I'm not there, but I still win somehow. 1 HP in a dream. Alright. Altaria against Shadow Fletchinder. This is going to be interesting. Let's take a look here at Fletchinder going for the fly again. John Cena disappearing, but going to be able to get some nice damage onto the opponent. And we can try to catch a move here. Doesn't work out. Greedent is going to be in against the Altaria, but what we have here now is unalignment. As you get the charge move in, we are over 10 seconds unaligned from the opponent while they stop out straight away. That means that whenever we are going to go down, they're going to be locked in while I'm not. In this case, it doesn't matter, because our entire team is quite neutral against Greedent, against Ferret, sorry. So like, it's not going to be something that I really gonna utilize. Or then again, they have the Brick Break here, which makes me more believe that it might be better to utilize it with other Pokemon. As the Stunfisk comes in here, we are going to be able to go ahead and take the Brick Break from the opponent. This is going to be fine, as you're going to be able to knock out here the opponent with a Discharge. This is going to be fine for us. As we have here another charge move coming through from the Altaria first, though. That's going to be a bit annoying. This is going to be a bit more difficult. This is going to be the Flamethrower, and they're going to still get even to another charge move afterwards. So this is not really ideal, I would say. But let's see on how things gonna go here afterwards. We're gonna have another charge move coming through. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be the Greedent now against the Empoleon. They have still 2 shields left. We are only having 1 shield left, and I'm going to let the move go through here. This is crazy. We're going to have the charge move still on my Pokemon here, but my only goal is, I think, to just try to go for the full farm down. I use a shield here, which I don't think is actually ideal in hindsight now, because I'm going to try to go for the full fast move down. And they have 1 HP left. I think I should have left the shield for my Fletchinder. While yes, I have resisted damage instead of super effective damage, I had more HP, and at the end of the day, this was most likely the better play. That was not ideal. I could have maybe won this one if I played a bit better. But let's move on to the next opponent. We're going to have here the Celio. That is interesting. That is interesting for sure, as we are going to be able to swap out here. We try to catch the move, we caught the move, and in comes now the Wigglytuff, which is going to be okay. We have just generally only nice neutral matchups here for this Pokemon, so like, it's not that bad. And we are going to be able to go for another charge move against the opponent here. This is going to be okay. We're going to see that there is going to be another charge move coming through. They're going to try to knock me out here with a Swift. I don't think it is enough. It is not enough yet, and I can still reach another Body Slam, and while this is also not going to be enough to knock them out, it's going to get them at least very, very low, which is perfect for ourselves, as we can go for the full farm down with Fletchinder. This is fine. In comes the Celio. Celio up against us is going to be okay for us as well, because we can go for the Fly, which does so much damage. They swap out straight away into the Dusknoir, and I just want to try to get them a little bit lower, because I think I need to do that in order to have any chance with my Dusknoir, with my Stunfisk here against the Dusknoir, because I'm not going to do a lot of damage here right now, and I need to kind of get them a bit lower for us to knock them out with a 1 charge move. But let's see how things are going to go. We're going to have the shield coming up here. This is going to be the Shadow Punch, and we have the Discharge now coming through, because Discharge is going to be a little bit cheaper compared to what we have with the Mud Bomb. This is going to be the ideal play, and they're going to have no shields left. Is this going to be enough though to knock them out is my question. It is enough, and with that we win the battle. Next up, we're going to have here the final battle for today, where we face off against the Clefable. As long as you're going to keep alignment, we're actually in a very good position with that, as Clefable is a Pokemon that, yeah, generally is going to be very good for us. Like, it's a Pokemon that we resist all the damage mainly, like unless they're running Swift, which is not really that bad. And I swap out here into a Pokemon as well that I feel like it's going to be alright for us. They're going to have the Stunfisk, and we're going to try our best here now to go and let the move go and see what we can do against the opponent. There's going to be another Trailblaze now coming in. This should be fine. This should allow us to get a boost onto ourselves. And in comes now the Abomasnow, and we try our best to go for our Body Slam. But here's the thing, Abomasnow is one of the hardest answers to my Stunfisk. Like, this is literally the hardest answer that you can have for the Stunfisk, because everything is resisted, everything they have is super effective. And so we have here a bit of an awkward position because we need our Fletchinder to do a lot of damage or knock them out ideally, which we are luckily going to be able to do. We're going to get a lot of damage onto them, which is something that I was really hoping for, because otherwise I had absolutely zero chance of doing anything here. But Fletchinder is going now up against the opponent's Clefable. We have the Showdown coming in, the Fly is going to get shielded, and I can still go ahead and go into my Stunfisk now, which is a better matchup for myself compared to the matchup, of course, against the opponent's Bombers now. This is the thing as well that you can have to overthink. Where is my Pokemon that I have like kind of best suited for? That doesn't mean that here, for example, Clefable, Fletchinder would have been ideal against this Pokemon. I still stopped out of it because I know that my Stunfisk doesn't have a better matchup anymore left, and so I'd rather utilize my Stunfisk here, where it's going to be able to sweep the entire team from the opponent, than just leave it in the back, and then I'm ending up with the Abomasto against it. And so this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun team to run. Heatwave definitely a cool addition towards this Pokemon, a very strong move. I think a few more other Pokemon could use it as well, for example, the Cargo, but we have to find this out as well. See you then. Bye-bye.